Welcome to the Heart and Soul Wellness Podcast, where we inspire women by teaching applicable skills and tools and assisting them with connecting with one another, healing, and aspiring to their highest selves so they can reach their full potential. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's such an honor to have Kimberly Millet with us. It's been so fun. We've been collaborating on a few different projects, and it's just awesome to have her on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's been so great. We've been learning. We're still new. Lots of trial and error.
That's right. We're learning together. Yeah,
yes.
We're just embracing the authentic imperfection that is part of life.
Absolutely.
Yes.
This has just been so fun. I just interviewed Sarah, so now it's her turn to interview.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to do a short introduction. Kimberly Millet is a transformational coach and a Mayan astrologer. She has taken a special interest in trauma as a result of her own traumatic experiences and believes that most of our blocks, pain, coping mechanisms, and even some physical illness stem from trauma. She is dedicated to increasing trauma awareness and also has a trauma support group on Facebook. It's called The Warriors of the Wilderness. And I just love that title. It's just awesome. Her passion as a coach is helping others feel supported through confusing midlife awakening process, which she believes is the moment we recognize we no longer want to be in a relationship with our old pattern formed through trauma. She enjoys helping her clients discover their passions, attain their goals, and work towards a life full of meaning and resilience. Kimmy has many simple pleasures in life. One of them is her love for birds, and when she is relaxing, she enjoys watching the wild doves enjoy their feeder outside. It's beautiful. Today we will be discussing understanding the importance of our painful experiences. So the art of cultivating resilience through our painful experiences. Oh, I love this topic so much. It's definitely a passion of mine, and I've been moved to see your journey throughout your life. We used to, I was at Weber State years and years ago, and we were working together, and I was always struck by your story. And you always struck me as a woman of resilience and a woman who was moving forward. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was always inspired by yours, so that is so sweet. We're inspired by each other. This is it's really refreshing, like when we sat down and talked about this, because I thought, oh man, like somebody who really like gets it, we really click on this topic and understanding the importance of it, like cultivating meaning and resilience through our painful experiences. And for me, I am so passionate about it because, you know, I have a history of trauma and growing up through a lot of traumatic experiences. And I think that I just didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
And so I didn't understand. It was like, why is all of this happening to me? And then, you know, that takes you into this victimhood place. And then it sort of feels like the whole thing kind of perpetuates. And so all of my, you know, because I was doing years of therapy and at times medications and, you know, with the different mental health struggles. And it was just like, what is the deal? Why can't I get there?
Yeah.
And so in a way, I mean, I was being resilient through those things, but I feel that what I was missing was understanding like the meaning. For me, I finally realized that that was a missing piece. I needed a reason. I needed a sort of an understanding. And so in 2008, I was diagnosed with stage 3C inflammatory breast cancer. I had little ones. And then, you know, prior to that healing process, I started going to college. And But, you know, there were some scary moments there. And I just remember there was a point where I had done a full round of chemo, and then I went in and they told me, you know, you didn't respond well. And basically I was like, what does this mean? And it was sort of like, it was like, I think even the doctor didn't know. He was like, well, probably 6 months. Like, and so I was really confronted with my mortality at that time. And that's a time, I think, more than ever, where you're like, I need meaning. I need a reason. Like, why would this be happening? And I really, for a moment, with the fear and the children, where I totally just went into this victim place of just devastation and feeling like I couldn't even muster the strength to like want to survive at that point. It was like, what do you do? And so there was a day I was sitting on my porch, and there was this really beautiful sunset that just started to set over the apartments, and the place I was living was not a great living situation. I had three tiny ones, including a little baby, and I just was feeling so helpless. And this beautiful sunset, I don't even know that I can adequately describe it, but it was like something in me awoken, and it kind of said, like, there's more here. You might not know what that more is, but there's more here. And maybe you feel like you don't have the energy. Maybe you feel like you don't have the answers, and you don't know the reasons, but you've got to trust there is one. And you don't know now, but you will someday. And you just can't quit until you quit, until your body quits. Until your body quits, your mind, your heart, your soul needs to be committed. Like, you have those babies, you have to be committed. And so
cold chills. It's such a beautiful process, but I think the pain you must have been feeling, but yet, what was it like to experience this awakening or this unfolding of something more on the other side?
It was really interesting. It was very spiritual for me. And I really had this moment where I felt like, wow, there's something else here I can tap into. Even though I feel so tired physically, I really did tap into spirit at that moment. And then I kind of had this sort of slight breakdown, but it was like in a good way. And I just stood up on this porch and I said so loudly, like probably anyone outside within a couple blocks kind of could have heard me. And I was like, I'm staying here. I still have more to do.
I love that.
And it was just something, though. I really felt like a tingling in my cells. It just felt like something awoken in me. Something changed. And what it really was at that moment is that I had to believe there was a reason. Because before that, I just didn't know what the reason was. And that had kind of caused me to give up and do the whole why me's. And I really started to respond after that. I started to respond. I got a different doctor as well, so that's another piece.
Yeah.
But it helped me. And I realized after that, every time a challenge comes up for me, if I don't understand in the moment, then I tell myself, I don't feel okay now, but I will soon. I don't understand why this is happening now, but I will in the future. And I always do. Yeah. I really find that I always do. And we were talking about this, how you shared a book with me that I downloaded. I haven't listened to it yet, but they're both about cultivating meaning and resilience through painful experiences. So I was sharing with her my love for Viktor Frankl and his book, Man's Search for Meaning. Yeah. And then yours was The Choice by
Eva Eger.
Yes. So definitely check out those books. Those are so very, very helpful. But yeah, I think it's so important to be able to bring meaning in. And, it's unfortunate for me, I guess, when I think about it, growing up and through divorces and domestic violence and, sexual assault and these different things, and just all of the years that I spent not having that peace and not even knowing it was important.
Yeah. And as you were going to, my heart breaks thinking about all of the things that you experienced and confronted in your life. But then I'm also like so grateful for the woman you are now, because I can see the strength and resilience you built. How did you make it through those times of where you didn't see what was next and life may have felt heavy?
Yeah, I think you touched on this a little bit in your interview, that I realized that not everything my mind tells me is true. A lot of it isn't. And a lot of the coping mechanisms and the thoughts that we have as a result of trauma, they're trying to serve us, but sometimes it's working against us. And it is hard, because in those moments, you don't always have full access to like your prefrontal cortex, or, your thinking and logic isn't always at its highest optimum performance.
Right.
But I've tried to make it a pattern to challenge everything that's coming in and out of my mind. Mm-hmm. And not just take it all at face value, not just take it as I'm having this thought, that must be true. Mm-hmm. So now I go, I'm having this thought, is it true? Mm-hmm. And then I have to really like sit with it. And then also ask myself, whatever the thoughts are, let them come and go. You don't have to act on them all. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be like, make a hasty decision or, and it's just the other piece, aside from the meaning, is being able to sit with pain. And which is another thing that you shared in your story, because I spent a long part of my life avoiding emotion, avoiding pain, and doing that through unhealthy coping mechanisms, whether that was distractions for a good portion of my life. And then later on in life, I became an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. And so all of that is just, we're always pushing away pain. Right. And so the idea that I could have pain and that's okay was like, didn't occur to me.
Yeah, right. And it's in opposition really to our culture. We are so driven by distractions, numbing out. There's so many different ways that we can find ourselves distracted. It's almost like you have to just literally choose another path. Was that true for you at all?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Because, I like that part that you mentioned about the society. Well, for me, I think a lot of it was positivity, comparing myself to others and being like, well, this can't be good because, that's negativity. And I just need to be better. I just need to be happy, and I just need to be grateful, and I just need to look on the bright side. And so it was interesting because I actually noticed part of my healing process was a complete flip to the other side that was maybe slightly unhealthy. So I went from this extreme, sort of victim, still resourceful, still surviving. But in my mind, I don't know that my mind was the healthiest at that place because I didn't understand a lot of what was happening. But then I shifted to I'm just going to be more positive all the time. And then all these other things are just toxic. And, so learning how to integrate that, positivity is good, but so is letting yourself feel. And there isn't shame in that. Pain's going to happen. It's going to happen to all of us. And, none of us really get out of this life unscathed. And so just showing myself that grace of, you can have a day and feel sad. And you can cry, and there's no shame in it. But I do give myself a day. I don't let myself live there.
Right. Yeah. So allowing yourself time to kind of integrate your experiences, I think can be a powerful tool. Sometimes I think we get so driven by, I got to fix this, I got to fix myself, I've got to fix my kids. And, we can just find ourselves in a loop where if we can allow ourselves, okay, I'm going to give myself a day, right, to just process this thing before I react to it or, do something hasty and just sitting with it instead of reacting.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I still have to challenge myself with it all the time because there's still, moments that it's like, in Buddhism, I think I love Pema Chodron, and she calls it the shenpa, right? Where it's like that hook. You get hooked in the heart by something. It's like you bite the hook. And it's so she has this book, Don't Bite the Hook, and I love it. And talking about that, where you get hooked in the heart and you don't always have to like react in that moment, but you can allow yourself to feel it.
Right.
Feel, don't react.
I love that. Yes, it's like there's a quote by Viktor Frankl, and he said, there's a space between stimulus and response, and in that lies our freedom. So it's like we set ourselves free when we are able to say, this is happening, pause, and take a moment. And then just bringing that in with everything you were sharing before with your awakening, it's just so incredible, the journey that you've been on. And I'm curious about what changes did you notice once your heart and your mind came into alignment and you committed to surviving, or you committed to seeing this through?
Are you speaking specifically to the illness?
Yeah.
Or
you can include other things too, though, because
that's a good question. What things changed at that point? I mean, my outlook and my approach changed.
Yeah.
It was like, I can't do things the same way. That's not working. Mm-hmm. That didn't work for me. Mm-hmm. And I just think that it was really allowing myself to feel and integrate and not shame myself about it and be like, hey, I'm human. Everybody feels. And it really was just kind of like more of a wake-up call. Like I'm not an Instagram reel, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a Facebook picture, and that's okay, because that's what those are. They're highlight reels.
Right.
And I need to allow myself to be human. But I did feel it's a freedom. Mm-hmm. It's a freedom. It's like you can be you. You can be unshackled from what society says you have to be, perfectly positive all the time or something. And you can just be human.
I love that. I love that so much. Like just allowing yourself to be human. Like messy and imperfect and beautiful. It's beautiful to think about it that way, because life is messy and we go through stuff. And this idea that we should go through life and never have to face anything hard or real, or say, okay, well, if I do, I just need to pause and get through it and then I'm going to be fine. We are really doing ourselves a disservice to embracing this whole self, this whole part of ourselves. It's like, okay, I have physically, emotionally, spiritually, sexual part of me, and they all need to be embraced.
Right. Yeah. And just to go back real quickly to your question about, what changed, because I had a minute to think about that. I said, that's such a good question. Yeah. But I really do think it's something that I heard you say before as well. It did give me options. Mm-hmm. It gave me a lot more freedom, a lot more options and choices, because instead of just being in this place where it was like, life is happening to me. Right. Nothing I can do about it. Life is happening to me. I was like, no, I'm happening to life.
Ooh, I love that.
I get to make choices, awesome. Right? Like I'm a free person now, and I can feel pain in my heart, and I have a mind that can help me reason, and all of these things can be tools for me. The pain can be a tool. I can let my mind be a tool, my spirit be a tool. But you really are like, wait a second. Life doesn't just, I'm not just a victim. Like there's more here.
Yes, I love that. There is a coach that I used to go see. And one of the things she said to me is that when you feel like you're in like a destruction process, like basically when all these difficult things are happening to you, it's actually the creative process. So you're actually creating in this process where everything feels like it's falling apart. It's interesting when we think about stories of women who experienced horrific things in their life. It seems that it builds resilience. It seems that maybe it is part of this creative process that allows us to then really be creative with our journey and then say, what am I going to do next?
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, I do. That reminds me of a quote about, I am going to just paraphrasing, but there's a seed and it says, if you saw a seed when it opens, it would look like it's destroying itself. Mm. But that's part of the process for the growth. So I like that.
I love that so much. It's so beautiful. And it's beautiful to see your journey and how it's unfolded and how you are now an advocate for women and supportive of women who are going through their own healing process. And I'm wondering if you could speak to maybe some of the things that gave you hope and some of the things that maybe still give you hope as you're helping others on their journey and you're, still kind of moving through your own process as we all are, right?
Yeah. Things that give me hope. I think it's impact. I think it's the idea that like I see this big shift that we're going through globally, and I think that I know I'm not the only one who's gone through this. Our experiences are sort of similar in that we went through these really painful experiences, and we transformed them to inspire others and to lead us ultimately to our path. And so what gives me hope is seeing this on a large scale. I really see this happening on a large scale right now. It's just so many people everywhere. It really felt like if you compare the space that we're in globally now to like 10, 15 years ago, like the consciousness level is just so high.
Right.
And I'm just like so excited about the future and for my children, which really is sort of a reframe, I guess, because I think a lot of people are, and there are times I do this as well, kind of looking at what's going on right now, like, oh man, things are so hard and this is so scary, but it's like that seed thing. Yeah, things are sort of falling apart, but they're also growing and changing. And I do have so much hope for that. I have hope for the future for our children. This younger generation is so emotionally aware and intelligent. And just some of the things my daughter says, I just think, if I had your awareness at that age.
Right.
So I am very hopeful. I'm so excited about the future, just the younger generations and really just making an impact. And I think we have moved into an era where that is what a lot of people just want to do. Mm-hmm. It's like, what is my piece to make an impact on somebody, anybody? Mm-hmm. And we're all doing that together. And that gives me so much hope.
I love that. I love what you shared because there are so many tools and resources available now that we didn't have.
Yeah.
Like 50 years ago or even 10 or 20 years ago. Right. There's so many resources to help the body, mind, and spirit to heal. And I'm a firm believer that we need to address those three aspects, body, mind, and spirit. But that seeing that we have choices and that we're not stuck and it's not always going to be this way provides, it seems like, a path for healing, a path for, it's just one day at a time. Just going to move forward one day at a time. And it's beautiful to see how you've been able to just hang on to hope and get through some very difficult situations. But then this wholehearted life that you're embracing is incredible.
Yeah. Well, I'll just end it on with this piece, which is my daughter, when she was born, right shortly before she was born, I had a dream that when she was born, she had a tag on her, a little bracelet, little tag, and it said Hope on it. And the doctor said, oh, her name is Hope. And I was like, and so when she was born in real life, I was like, okay, well, Hope has to be in her name. So it's her middle name. Yeah. And she definitely gives me hope. And I just think that is something that we need. We need that to keep getting through.
Yeah. It's a beautiful story. Thank you. Thank you so much for being part of the show. It's been an honor to collaborate with you, and I'm just so excited for the next things we'll be doing together. And if anyone's interested in connecting with Kimmy, you can go to her website or blog or a YouTube channel, and we're going to include the links on the show notes so that you can connect with her. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to next time.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to the Heart and Soul Wellness podcast with your host, Sarah Carter. Make sure to like and subscribe, and if you have any thoughts about what we talked about today, leave a comment. Also, you can find us at heartandsoulwellness.org and on Facebook and Instagram. Join us again as we continue to help women heal, connect, and aspire to their true and authentic selves.